So, now that Trump has not surged, but he has slowly but surely overtaken Kamala Harris in Michigan over these past couple of weeks, all of a sudden, people are paying a little bit more attention to the Jill Stein campaign. And so what that means is now you're going to have pundits coming on Morning Joe talking about their articles in which they cautioned America against voting for Jill Stein. So there's a guy named Tom Rogers. He has an op-ed in Newsweek about how Jill Stein is not likely, but will possibly cost Kamala the presidency just as she did Hillary Clinton. So here's some of that interview.
An editor-at-large at Newsweek, Tom Rogers. His latest piece is entitled, Jill Stein Blew It for Hillary Clinton. Will she do the same for Harris? Let's start there. Will she?
Well, all the focus went off of third-party candidates when RFK Jr. dropped out, but
Right.
There's real peril there for Kamala Harris in terms of what remains. Jill Stein was responsible for Hillary Clinton not making it to the White House. Her margin, say in Michigan, was 50,000 votes, and Trump only won by 10,000 votes.
That's right.
There.
She did a great job. She did a fantastic job. It was a great night. I thank her very much for running. But on a serious note, I mean, what idiotic analysis that is. She was responsible. Yeah, that's right. It was Jill Stein's fault that Hillary Clinton lost the state of Michigan. I mean, we've made this point a million times, folks. I don't really feel a need to litigate this from A to Z all over again. But as long as you're stupid on behalf of the Democratic Party, you can go really far. They'll bring you on Morning Joe. What a just transparently idiotic statement that is, that Jill Stein was responsible for Trump winning because her vote total was bigger than Hillary Clinton's margin. Hillary Clinton didn't campaign in Michigan, and it wasn't an oversight. The campaign chose not to send her to Michigan or Wisconsin because they were afraid that the more the people of Michigan and Wisconsin were exposed to her, the more they would dislike her and the more it would help Trump. That's why she lost the election. That's why she lost Michigan and Wisconsin.
And I believe, according to Shattered, which I think we both have back here, Bill was advising against that. Bill,
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was Shattered, but I definitely read something that Bill was like, people are really angry. You might want to go out there and talk to them. And also all of the polling shows that a plurality, at the very least, of people who vote for Jill Stein wouldn't vote at all if Jill Stein were not on the ballot, something they always conveniently ignore. Now, in this particular election, as much as they may have been crying wolf for the past 8 years about mean Jill Stein costing them 2016, she might actually cost them this one. For real.
Yep.
But hey, man, so maybe throw a bone to people and say, yeah, I'm not going to keep sending arms for genocide. How about that?
Exactly.
How about that? That's it. Problem solved. Problem solved. But they won't do that. But that's not to blame. Policy. That is what is so insidious about these shows. People who get their news this way really come without even it being a conscious process. They come to see politics as a game. It's a game completely divorced from actual policy. Not one person there saying, well, why do you think people are voting for Jill Stein knowing that it's going to get left voters, knowing that it could end up electing Donald Trump? No one's going to ask that question. It is just assumed that you are supposed to vote for Kamala Harris, and the reasons why are not to be raised.
Yep. And that's so true that in this case, toward the end of this interview, this guy actually goes there and says, yeah, you might be upset about Gaza. He actually goes there. That's how arrogant.
And the whole Trump math is that we know Trump has a ceiling, whether it's 47%, 48%. So he needs to have somebody siphon off votes from the Democratic candidate in order to win by plurality. And Jill Stein being on the ballot in all the swing states but Nevada is really in a position when we know that the swing states are going to come down to 1-2% margins.
Yeah. Hey, so Tom, just to talk about how this is.
Yeah. Oh my God. She says, "Oh my God." By the way,
she is such a fucking aristocrat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
my
that's
God.
and that's a lot of what they have on these shows. I always talk about this when I used to watch it. When I used to watch like these types of shows, used to have Cokie Roberts on ABC,
Mm-hmm.
and she loved to talk because she was from this very aristocratic New Orleans old money family, and her family knew Bill Bradley at the Washington Post, and they would. She loved to talk about these fabulous Washington parties and who was at these parties. That is a lot of the appeal of these shows for the people who watch them. It makes them feel like they're an extension of that insider world. That's what people like Mika are there for, to represent that deep Washington insider pedigree.
Oh, of course. And what this guy says about Trump's ceiling being at 47, 48 could be true, could not be true. Like I said, he has surged very, very slowly, but, you know, he has cracked 50% in a few of these recent polls, got up to 48, 49, 51 in some. So that might not be as true as he's saying. But the point holds, it's going to be very close. And yeah, she could cost her. Absolutely.
Really changed American history, especially this century. Without Ralph Nader taking a couple of percentage points from Al Gore in 2000,
high-level analysis,
and Jill Stein taking a couple of percentage points from Hillary Clinton in 2016, Democrats would have won the Electoral College. Well, they won the popular vote 7 of the last 8, but minus those two, like third-party spoiler candidates, no Republican would have been elected president since 1992.
All right, so my point is, if more people had voted for Democrats instead of other candidates, Democrats would win more elections. That's real high-level analysis there.
It's worse than that. How about all the people that Jeb Bush purged from the voter rolls? Forget about the hanging chads. That alone was enough to tip the election to George Bush in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
Why don't they ever mention that? Why don't they ever mention all the shenanigans, all the people who got disenfranchised by the brother of the candidate who was the governor of the state of Florida?
Well,
they
I think
never
it's because
talk about that. They will never bring things up that undermine faith in the quote unquote system or that really challenge members of the aristocracy in good standing like the Bushes.
Well, in Scarborough's case, I believe he was in Congress at the time of that election, cheering on George W. Bush. I know he was elected in the 90s. When did he leave Congress? I'm trying to find out. All right, U.S. House of Representatives. When did he leave? Oh, yeah, no. So he was in Congress in 2000. He was. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he was a Bush supporter at that time.
But none of them were. I don't mean them specifically.
No, I know. I'm just saying. In
none
his
of these
case,
people
it's
will
especially
ever bring
ironic.
this up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's supposed to be the Democrat. Why doesn't she bring it up?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's a new day. It's a new day.
Yeah,
Let's see. Let's hear his response.
Well, no, it's the old day. It's the same day. It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. And it's not only the Stein threat, but Cornell West is on the ballot in Wisconsin and Michigan, North Carolina and Georgia.
He's tearing it up.
And so there's a double threat there.
What is their point of running?
They should attack Cornell next. That would be fun.
I said that to you. Cornell just did an interview after one day. It had 52 views.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they should do an attack ad on him next. Absolutely.
Yeah, they really should. They really should. That would be the best thing that's happened to his campaign since he was taken in by the Green Party.
So this is a little bit later in the interview. This is Al Sharpton asking him for his final word on this.
Debates because they're not running in the primary.
Sorry.
In Georgia, and so there's a double threat there.
What is their point of running? They were not in the debates because they're not running in the primaries. So, I mean, what is the point other than they end up messing up someone that may be closer to their politics than the other?
Well, I think you asked the money question. I don't think there is a point other than to be a spoiler. They make the argument that they represent viewpoints that need to be on the ballot to give voters a choice, even though they know they have no chance whatsoever of winning or no chance of even getting any electoral college votes. But it's very clear in the case of Jill Stein in 2016, the Russians, through their social media efforts, were very much promoting her. It's very clear that both Stein and West have benefited when it comes to signature collection to get on the ballot in swing states, that Republican-connected Trump lawyers have been involved in their efforts, and Republican money looks like it's at the heart of getting West on the ballot. So these are spoiler efforts. And anybody who thinks about voting third party, whether they're voting because they don't think Harris is progressive enough, they don't like her position on Gaza, they think because of fracking she's not green enough.
I mean, they just lump that in. How genocide gets lumped in between two things. They don't think she's progressive enough. She doesn't like that she murders the children in Gaza and fracking. Just like it's one of these three things. This is why I'm telling you, folks, this is all the dumbing down of the electorate, and yes, the country more broadly, but specifically the electorate. They want a cozy electorate who's going to litigate things at the margins near the edge of a very narrow Overton window. They want you talking about the solvency of Social Security. They want that to be a big issue in the campaign among senior citizens who disproportionately vote. They don't want you actually litigating genocide. Look at how haphazardly he just lists it. Yeah, they don't like that she's not progressive enough. They don't like her views on Gaza. They don't like her views on fracking. As if that's just one in a list of things. As if it's not the greatest crime of our generation taking place, on camera for all of us to see. We're going to do a story about Jabalia and northern Gaza later in the show, which is just gutting. This is the kind of airtime it gets on a show like this. It's just one of things. Yeah, those progressives, the kids with the blue hair, they care about Gaza. Yeah, so the spoiled brats that they are who don't want to watch babies be killed by the tens of thousands on Twitter, they might vote for Jill Stein, but they're really just wasting their time. Like the arrogance of it, like you said, this is a show to make people feel like they are in the same social strata as these people with not a care in the world, a care in the world. All those concerns, those are for the small people.
Right. And people who watch this, they'll parrot these talking points with just that smugness. Well, did you see on Morning Joe the other day, they were talking about how, third party, it's a lot of Russian interference. Right. It's just, I just don't understand. If you're on the left, why would you want Donald Trump? There's just, the math is not there. Hey, look, I would love to see Jill Stein as president. I'm an old lefty from way back.
Right. Yeah, Feldman, yeah.
Reference Feldman. Yeah, and these people, hey, players gonna play, right? It's the job of the media to call them out. But because of the total corporate takeover of the media, they just hire prostitutes. These people are just whores. They're just whores going on there to run cover for what is clearly a broken system. It's to go up there and run cover for the idea that, considering not supporting this two-party duopoly, is tantamount to treason. It's treasonous. It's stupid. It's ignorant. It's uninformed. It's selfish. It's democracy. If you want to get elected, well, under the supposed democratic circumstances of the nation, you have to account for third parties. That needs to be part of your campaign. How about that? Right. You actually have to win with. So what about the libertarian? Right. Is he taking from Trump? Because the libertarians usually perform better than the Greens, actually.
Yeah. I mean, this year, the libertarians have, an anti-genocide candidate who was, I guess, too woke for even the Libertarian Party. Like, because we interviewed Angela McArdle, the party chair wants Trump. So it's going to be hard for libertarians to really gain a foothold when the infrastructure seems more interested in backing Trump than backing him. But generally speaking, yes, you're absolutely correct. And notice
Gary Johnson did better than she
Gary
did.
Johnson did much better than Jill Stein in 2016. Have you ever heard? I've never heard a mainstream Republican politician or pundit bitch about the Libertarian Party. Never once. Gary
I've heard
Johnson
them bitch
should
about
drop
Ross
out.
Perot.
He should drop out. How dare he?
They have blamed Ross Perot for Clinton's.
But Ross Perot got what? 15% of the vote. He was a major candidate. Gary Johnson, you're talking about a single-digit candidate, right? Like, they don't blame single-digit candidates. No, Ross Perot got a lot of votes.
I have never
so it's
heard
understandable.
that.
Yeah, but you never hear them go after the libertarians. You never hear, how dare Gary Johnson run? No, because that's the market. Because going back to our last segment, that's what losers do. If you're bitching about a candidate that's getting less than 5% of the vote, you're a fucking loser. That gives off major loser vibes.
Well, and they're also, and I don't want to let the Republicans off the hook. I don't want to say they're not authoritarian. They are in their way, but the Democrats are authoritarian in a different way. They really, truly, at their core, liberals do not believe that opinions that are opposed to their own are valid.
Right.
You can have minor differences on taxes and that kind of thing, but fundamentally different points of view are just evil. It's not just wrong. It's not just difference of opinion. It's evil. They are constitutionally incapable of agreeing to disagree on anything. If you disagree, you are an enemy with them.
Yes. Yep. That is absolutely how they think. No doubt about it.
Please clap.